Hello everyone, today I am going to do a short tutorial on the basics of stamping. This tutorial is in two parts. In the first part I'll show you how what different kinds of stamps and inks are there and how to stamp images. And in the second part of the tutorial I'll do a quick card using a stamping technique known as paper piecing. So we'll start off by showing you what different kinds of stamps are available. So stamps basically come in two major types: the wood mounted rubber stamps and clear stamps. So this is a wood mounted rubber stamp. It like this is this image on which we'll put ink and stamp. It's mounted on cling foam, which again is mounted on wood. So the advantage of these stamps is that they are incredibly easy to use, so you don't have to do anything, just ink it and stamp it. And they work well with the really intricate patterns. They ink really well and the image that you get is really good. But the downside is that they are more expensive than clear stamps, and anyway they would take up more space when you want to store a lot of them. So, and this is a clear stamp set. Clear stamp sets are basically made of photopolymer or acrylic, and they come in sheets. This is a Mikia clear stamp set. They come stuck on the sheet of transparency. There's something like this because you can just peel them off. I'll show you how the stamping is done in a little while. And this is another clear stamp set. Rubber stamps come in two varieties: wood mounted and unmounted. An unmounted stamp set is not mounted on wood, it's just the rubber and the cling foam. The advantage of this unmounted stamps would be they are slightly less expensive than rubber stamps, and they stamp just as well as a rubber stamp. So this is the major types of stamps that are available. Now I'll show you a few different kinds of inks that are available and what to use when. This is just a rough guide to guide you. It's no way exhaustive. This is just something to get you started. So first off, there's something known as dye-based inks. So these are all some dye-based inks. These four are dye-based inks. Dye-based inks are typically thin inks which stamp really well, and the ink the ink dries up really fast. When you stamp a dye-based ink on paper, they work very well on porous surfaces like paper, handmade paper and all. So they stamp really well, and the ink dries very fast. So you cannot basically use this ink for heat embossing purposes. What is heat embossing? That will be covered in a later tutorial on the blog. So they again come in two varieties. One is the water-based dye inks, and the other is non-water-based. So this water-based inks would typically be like when you want to use them for watercoloring, like a stamped image with water-based dye ink would typically bleed if you try to do some watercoloring or something. And then there are permanent dye-based inks which you can use for this. Like this Memento ink is a permanent ink, which means if you stamp with it, it will not fade over time, and then if you want to try to color images stamped with it with Copics or watercolors or anything, it won't bleed. So these are basically your Faber-Castell stamp pad is also a dye-based ink. So these are dye-based inks. Then you have something known as pigment inks. Pigment inks are thicker than dye-based inks. They come in almost all colors, and it's a really beautiful thick ink which takes a lot of time to dry. So you would typically use this for getting really vibrant images, and this can be used for heat embossing purposes. Then there is another kind known as chalk ink. Chalk ink is also like pigment ink, but the only main difference is that you will not get really that much vibrant images as when compared with pigment inks. So this is great for stamping big backgrounds where you don't want the background to overpower the entire card. So there is chalk ink, and then there is another kind of ink known as Versamark watermark ink. This is basically a colorless ink, which when you stamp with this ink, you will get tone-on-tone images, same colored images on paper. This ink dries really slowly, so this is great for heat embossing. Then there is another kind of ink which I don't have. It's called StazOn. It's a solvent-based ink which dries up really fast, and so it is great for use on stamping on things like transparencies, glass, metal, etc. and it stays on when you stamp with it, and it dries really fast, and it's really great for stamping really intricate designs. So this is all about basic information about inks. Now earlier we saw that stamps are like clear stamps and rubber stamps. In these stamps itself, we have certain divisions, like classifications, like you can have outline stamps, which is something like this, where this will be like the design would just, when you stamp it, you will just get an outline of the image which you can color it. Then you would have something like solid stamps, which, if you look at this clear stamp set, this one, when you stamp, you don't have to color in, the whole image will be inked with the stamp pad and then stamped. And then you have sentiment stamps, which is this is like a sentiment stamp. And then you have something like a background stamp. This is basically just a big stamp which can cover the entire background of a card. And then you have this is a roller kind of a stamp, where you ink the roller, and then when you roll it on paper, the entire, like, you will get a border kind of thing. I'll just show you how it is done. So we'll just quickly stamp from a few images. So we'll first use this Mikia stamp and stamp it on a plain piece of paper. So here I'll use my Memento ink pad for this. We'll ink it up nicely and make sure the entire image is inked evenly. And take my piece of paper and stamp away. So I'll make sure that the pressure is evenly applied on the image. So this, there you go. There you have your stamp girl. So this is with the wood mount stamp. Now we'll use a clear stamp, a cling stamp. Cling stamps and clear stamps need something known as acrylic blocks for you to stamp. The stamp has to be mounted on these and stamped with. So these come in a lot of sizes. The size you choose for your acrylic block would depend on the size of the stamp you have. So like this is a clear cling stamp, which is big. So I'll use this big clear acrylic block. I'll just place it on this, and then it sticks to it, and I'll ink it up. Oops, I dropped my ink pad. Be careful with your inks, you don't want a messy image. So I'll just ink it up and press. And there you go, there I have my image. This, you stamp with clear stamps in a similar way. This is my clear stamp set. I'll just use this roll design with clear. They are placed on the sheets of transparency. You just have to carefully peel it off from the sheet and place it on your acrylic block. Ink it up. And the advantage of clear stamps is that you know exactly where you're going to stamp on your piece project. So they work great when you have to use multiple stamps on an image and you have to be sure where you're stamping. There you go. And I'll show you one example with this roller kind also. This roller. You just ink up. And roll. There you get this image. So I hope this is clear. This is just the first part of the tutorial. In the second part, I will show you how to make a stamped card using a stamping technique known as paper piecing. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.